My name is Shannon Haddock, and I am a fiction specialist with the Hoover Library. And since our adult summer reading programs detail tales and tales, we're doing rescue tales now with several animal-related nonprofits. And today is a big one. The Greater Birmingham Humane Society is being represented by Casey Rawlings, who is the Outreach and Education Coordinator. And we've got lots to talk about, I'm sure. So, Casey, can you tell us a little bit about the beginnings, the history of Greater Birmingham Humane Societies?
Yeah, absolutely. So the Greater Birmingham Humane Society was originally founded in 1883, which makes us one of the oldest humane societies in the state of Alabama. We are also now one of the largest in Alabama, which is really fun. So we were founded by Dr. John Herbert Phillips, and he actually came to Birmingham, and he, of course, founded us. And at the time, I think we were called the Birmingham Humane Society of Cruelty to Children and Animals. So we had a really long name. But he also founded the city's first high school, the Birmingham Library. And I believe that he was also the first superintendent of the school system here. So a really cool history.
Yeah, he's a Renaissance man.
He is. He was all
Yeah.
about, the links between human and animal bonding, and how that affects children going into adulthood. Very cool stuff.
Yeah, yeah. And I didn't realize he was the same that started the Birmingham Library, which I worked at. So that's a great link. Yeah.
It is.
Yeah. So how has it evolved and how is it now as far as like the mission and purpose? Because I'm sure that it's evolved over the years, as has people's attitudes about animals and pets.
Yeah, it's for a long time we were kind of like a limited intake. So we didn't do stray animals for a long time, and we just did owner surrenders. So the animals that came into the shelter were just owner surrenders.
Oh,
And then as animal control started, we would kind of work with them to pick some of the animals out of animal control to come to the shelter to be adopted. And then so that was kind of how it was for a long time. And surprisingly, a lot of people in Jefferson County surrender their pets, so that's actually a large intake number there. But
still or then?
um, still people reach out, and that's an exciting thing to talk about as we move forward in our history, is how we kind of mitigate owner surrenders. So in 2015, I believe in January, we took over the contract for Jefferson County's animal control. And
Oh,
so the staff that is over at the animal control building, there are staff and our animal control officers. So we're under the same entity. It's just a different building right now. Um, so doing that, our intake went through the roof. We have a ton of animals, a lot of stray animals in this area. No spay neuter or anything like that, no regulations, no registrations for the city of Birmingham either.
right.
So we really had high intake. And so between that and what we call open intake is, we take any animals. It doesn't matter if they're sick or aggressive or anything like that. It doesn't matter. And so for a long time, between January of 2015 and July of 2018, we were open intake, which means sadly we were doing a lot of euthanasia because we didn't have space in the shelter. And a lot of shelters across the country were in the same predicament that we were, especially in southern states. So a lot of shelters got a lot of hate for having high euthanasia numbers. Um,
Oh,
and so in July of 2018, we kind of hopped on this bandwagon of, trying to help people keep their pets and mitigate surrender. So I started the what we call surrender prevention program in July of 2018, and that's a part of our outreach that we do here at the shelter. So every person who wants to surrender an animal, they have to contact me first. And, based on what they're telling me, we kind of have like a little mini counseling session.
Right.
And I try to help them keep their pets. So we offer resources and services, which is a part of our mission anyway. Whether it's they need help with spay neuter or vaccinations, training assistance, pet food, supplies, anything like that that I can help them with, we
Uh,
do that. And since we started that program in July 2018, we've diverted, I think, almost 6,000 animals from the shelter through owner surrenders.
that's fantastic.
Yeah, so that's lowered our owner surrender numbers a ton. By doing this, we're able to make appointments instead of just being open intake all the time. So we manage that intake coming into the shelter so we don't have to euthanize any animals for space, which is incredible for a southern shelter.
And and that's what we really want is for the relationship, the parent pet relationship to work out it for its best.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And especially through the pandemic, like we really know that, pets help people emotionally, physically, with medical issues and just general happiness and well-being. Like there's science behind that. That's something
Yeah.
that we know for a fact. And so if we can help, as long as it's safe for the person and it's safe for the pet to stay in that home, that's absolutely what we want.
And several of the charities, nonprofits I've talked to, like Sugar Bell Foundation,
Love
their hope is to do anything they can to keep the relationship going. With, like you said, provide them with food if they can't afford it, or medical care if they can't afford it,
Yeah.
instead of surrender.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Sugar Bell is a great organization, and they've been doing that for a long time.
Right. Right.
They've been helping people for a long time. They're
Yeah.
fantastic.
So, tell me about the volunteer aspect. You do outreach and education? Is there a whole volunteer program with the Humane Society?
There is. So we have some kind of volunteer-based education programs like our Humane Teen Club. And our
Right,
Humane Teen Club are ages 12 to 15. They meet once monthly at the shelter and do a service project that they get volunteer hours for. We have our junior volunteer program that's 16 to 18 about, and then we have our general volunteers, which are our adults. So we do have a separate volunteer program.
right.
And that whole program has its own manager. Um, of course, with COVID, we had to have all of our volunteers not come into the shelter. And so we for a long time we lost a lot of volunteers. But 2021, we've got about 100 fosters and we consider them volunteers. Um, Anywhere from between 50 to 75 active volunteers at the shelter. And we also do community service. So folks that are having to do community service, like court ordered, they come in and we usually have about 20 of them a month, which is really great.
Yeah. So you're
Um,
talking as far as the volunteers range from anything from coming in and doing physical stuff on in your plant, or in your facility, to, you said, fosters for animals, which
Yeah,
is
absolutely. So it
yeah,
it really depends on, we want to make it a great experience for volunteers to come in, but something that they find meaningful. And that
yeah,
has kind of a different definition for, from person to person. So if somebody like does not want to walk dogs,
right,
they don't have to walk dogs. We've got plenty of stuff for them to do. We've got admin work that volunteers do. But yeah, we do a lot of transports. We have transport drivers that are
hmm,
volunteers and they, drive dogs and cats up to like Wisconsin and Michigan, Washington, D.C., all these great places to get them out of the shelter to make room for incoming animals. And, people do come in and walk dogs. They help clean kennels. They hang out with cats and help clean up the cat rooms and
right.
all kinds of things. It's
Socialize, and
yeah.
how do you have any kind of arrangements with trainers, animal trainers, to try and work with troubled animals and things like that? How
Yeah.
how is your facility with that?
Yeah, so we I want to say that it was right before the pandemic, but it was in 2019. We started partnering with Three Dimensional Dog. And the guy that runs that, his name is Aaron McDonald, and he came in and met with us. And, you know, they have some really great training techniques and really great trainers. And so they have their own certification process that they do. And so they'll send their trainers in training, if you will,
Mhm.
to our shelter to get volunteer hours, and they will work with the dogs that are here in the shelter, which is great for enrichment for the shelter dogs, to help with kennel stress and kind of helping them chill out a little bit. And so we do work with Three Dimensional Dog, and they come in and volunteer when they're in training to get their hours.
Yeah, but I can see, people thinking, well, I'm not a dog person, I'm not a cat person, but I'd like to help out. I mean, everything from groomer, people who learn grooming to photography skills, making those pets look adoptable, what more adoptable.
Yeah.
Because I've seen some really, really cute um, portraits come out of the Humane Society.
Yeah.
So, yeah, can we talk a little bit about the recent announcement about a new facility? I read the short article, and I know there's not a whole lot known, but can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, so that is, something that we've wanted to do since we took over animal control in 2015, and something that Allison Black Cornelius, our CEO, that is her dream, to have us all on one campus. So as it stands right now, we have technically 4 locations because we also run Jasper City, their animal control shelter. So we have staff
Gotcha.
up there that do that. But here in the Birmingham area, we have 3 locations. So we have the Greater Birmingham Humane Society, which is here in Homewood. We
Hmm.
have Animal Control, of course, which is over in Woodlawn. That building is way past its prime, and we need to, get those animals out of that building. But that's a county-owned building, I believe. So they're over in Woodlawn by the airport. So that's about 20 minutes on a good day from
Yeah,
here to there.
yeah.
And then we have a third facility, which is our shelter hospital, and it's over in Hoover. So all of the animals from our Homewood facility and our Woodlawn facility travel there daily to be spayed and neutered. And then they all have to come back here. And so we're just doing this driving thing, and it's really stressful for the animals,
Oh,
especially if
sure.
they're undergoing medical procedures that compromises their immunity when they're stressed out that way. And so it's just driving all the time. And if there's an emergency at one of these buildings and we need to get our animals to the vet,
Right.
we have to get them over to Hoover. So if we're all like co-locating on one location, it benefits us, it benefits the community, it benefits the animals, which is obviously most important that it benefits the
Yeah.
animals. But it's always been a dream for us to have an educational center somewhere that the community wants to come and spend time with and bring their pets. And so the hope is that this new location will be able to provide that for the community. There's a lake that's staying there, and you can walk around the lake, and there will be dog parks and education center. The adoption center is going to be amazing. So it's a dream for shelter staff. We don't have to drive all over everywhere to get our
Yeah.
animals where they need to be, but we have all of this on one location, and the county will be building that animal control building, and they'll maintain the ownership of that building, and we'll just work there.
And
So,
it's located where? It's gonna
uh,
be
yeah, so the information that they've sent out is over on Lakeshore, and it's a piece of property, I believe, currently owned by U.S. Steel. So they're all in the due diligence process. So I don't have a whole lot of information about it, but the drawings that they've put up are beautiful.
yeah, that's fantastic. So, tell me, okay, that kind of covers the long range plan, bringing everybody under one house
Yeah.
and adding an educational component
Mhm.
with the public. That's great. So, do you, on boots on the ground, practical stuff, do you have a website that, linking everybody to the website, but can volunteers go and do you have like an Amazon wish list and ways that people can monetarily donate, things like that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. we always try to push supply drives, people, and there's no wrong way to volunteer. And so, volunteering in your community to have your neighbors collect newspapers or
Mhm.
dog food and picking that up and bringing it to the shelter is so helpful. We do have an Amazon wish list. I believe there's a link to it from our website, but I can definitely get you that. Um, and it is public, so you should just be able to search for it and it should come up. But it has all types of things. One of the things that the staff ask for most for the shelter animals are enrichment activities. So Kongs and stuff like that the dogs can play with while they're in the kennel, that keeps their minds kind of
Yeah.
activated while they're in there. That's stuff that our animal care staff wants. And of course, we have our pet pantry and outreach programs. So we always are collecting food and supplies for that. Um, and we do, of course, on our website, gbhs.org, there are donate buttons everywhere for monetary donations. And those can be restricted to if you want to pay for an animal spay neuter or an adoption, you can do that. Or you can make a general contribution and it kind of goes wherever is needed in the shelter. Um,
Yeah.
but we do a lot and we like to help our community. So anything that we can get, we use here in the shelter and we use out in the community. So it's all going somewhere.
Yeah, I know here at the library, for instance, we have a set time every month. Well, we did before COVID, a set time every month where we get together and roll newspapers, and those are donated to the shelter. And if you have any kind of group, Girl Scout, Boy Scout, whatever, a Sunday group, you can get together and do things like rolling newspapers. Or if you're Marie Kondoing your house, like I recently did, and changing out linens and towels, those are needed. So
Absolutely.
yeah, there's all kind of ways.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And if
yeah,
you're at the grocery store and you pick up an extra roll of paper towels, anything
yes.
helps, and we're thankful for all of it. And with groups, we do group volunteer visits with different service projects and stuff like that. And
Hmm.
the person, her name is Siobhan Morse. She is our volunteer coordinator. She manages those groups that are coming in and kind of sets them up with a project that they're interested in that is meaningful to them that helps the shelter.
Yeah. And so, what are some of your, besides the donation sites on your website and place, what are other fundraising efforts that y'all have? Do you coordinate with Doodah Day and involve yourself with that? And, other kinds of fundraisers that you're known for?
Yeah, so we've always kind of been a part of Doodah Day in the past. And this year will, of course, be a little bit different. After the pandemic, I think they're doing it at one central location instead of doing the whole parade around the park. We have our annual formal fundraiser, Jazz Cat Ball. That's our Mardi Gras party in February.
Yeah.
We always get together with our different partners. Hendrick Subaru, we'll do fundraisers and adoption events and stuff like that. We have a lot of partners in the community, and when things come up, we take it.
Hmm.
So in any reason to help the animals here in the shelter, we do. On a smaller scale, people, especially students, I love when students do coin drives because it really teaches them, how to kind of make a campaign from start to finish. And
Oh,
so they,
nice.
they make their posters and their stuff, and then they take it to school or their family, and they collect coins and dollars, and then they bring it into the shelter, and they're so proud that that they've done this thing, and it helped
Sure.
the shelter, and it's really cool. So coin drives. But yeah, we do, just when they come up, we do them. But yeah, we have our annual stuff, and of course, it's looking a little different,
I
post.
was going to ask, I know here at the library, the changes that the pandemic imposed on us have in some ways been a good thing because we've learned how to adapt. I mean, like this today, us talking and recording a talk and being able to put that out on social media
Yeah.
has been a good development. But I miss seeing the people and the program during the programs. So
Yeah.
how has the pandemic specifically impacted you guys?
So it has certainly expanded our outreach programs.
Hmm.
So when we first had to shut down this time, or well, I guess at the end of March of last year, we had to empty out the shelter of animals, and our staff couldn't be in the building, which was a nightmare. But we had some really amazing foster people who stepped up, and we emptied out the shelter. I want to say that it was over 250 animals. I could be completely wrong and that not be the number, but it's somewhere around there. We emptied out the shelter, and what we ended up doing with the assistance of the Greater Good, they donated truckloads, like 18-wheeler loads of pet food. And so we turned our entire shelter into a giant food bank. And so we had
Fantastic.
25 days of distribution between April and May of last year. And, thousands of people came, and we served thousands of people, and we did just a drive through for 25 days. um,
Wow.
and it was incredible. So we have certainly learned to adapt as well. We've done a lot of Zoom meetings. We've done some education presentations with schools and classrooms over Zoom, with their at-home kids and their school kids. And fundraising efforts have definitely changed as well.
Well, I know there's been a huge increase in the need for companion animals during the pandemic. Were you able to provide an avenue for people to adopt during the pandemic? Once things calmed down around May, June last year.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, well, a lot of the fosters that came in to get those animals out of the shelter, a lot of them, um, worked behind the scenes on getting the foster pets that they took home adopted by friends, family, neighbors,
gotcha.
themselves. So, we did a lot of adoptions that way. But when we came back, I want to say May or June, we had a really small team here,
Mhm.
but we did adoptions by appointment. And so that was kind of how we did it. And we would have somebody come in and then clean, 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 and have
Yeah,
somebody come in. And so it was a lot of coordinating between the fosters, because we still didn't have the number of staff that we needed to have the animals here to be cleaned and fed every day. So the
right,
fosters would be coordinated to bring their pet in at the same time that a person was interested in adopting that pet, and they would come in. And then if it worked out, they would go home with the new adopter. If it didn't, they would go back home with the foster. So it was a lot of coordination.
right,
So we
right.
were still able to do adoptions, and we're actually still doing adoptions by appointment now. But we have our staff back. Our staff is here. The animals are here in the building. We still utilize our foster network. We have a huge network and a lot of animals that need foster care. And people are coming in for adoption appointments, and we're able to start having walk-ins come in. And it's been interesting.
It's been a challenge, but it's been a huge learning opportunity. I
Yeah,
know.
and we have a
Yeah.
a a truly great staff and some wonderful volunteers that are, adapting with us. So we're all kind of going through the changes together and learning new things and doing what we can for the animals.
That's fantastic. You got anything else to share before we wrap up? I
We've
anything you
gone
want to
over a
share?
lot.
Yes, we have, which is good. Yeah.
Yeah, it is good. It's this is a fantastic place to be, whether you're just visiting or you work here or you volunteer your time or your money. Um,
Hmm.
it's a great mission. It's not just about the animals, it's not just about the people, it's about both. And, that's really important for everyone here at the shelter, through our outreach programs, our education programs, our adoption programs, our volunteer programs. It's
Yeah.
all animal and person centered. So, that's something that's important. And, like we said before, um, those are the rewards of working here is we get to help both.
Yeah.
That was the original mission,
Yeah.
from Dr. Phillips. And as you can see, like he created us and he created the library. He can't be
Mhm.
wrong.
Cannot go wrong with that.
So
And I do know, with your expanding some of the educational opportunities, there'll be more things like animals at the library. So
yeah,
with
absolutely, absolutely. And we do reading programs for kids. We do literacy programs. We It's called Reading Buddies, and we've been doing it through Zoom. We have a great education team that is made up of completely. It's all volunteers,
that's fantastic. Yeah.
volunteers and board members, and they have animals that they take into schools and do presentations with when we're allowed to do so. These dogs go into the libraries and kids read to them and gain that confidence in their reading skills. And all of these dogs on our education team were adopted from the shelter, um, which is
So you're not talking just about dogs and cats, are you? What are some of the other animals that y'all have encountered?
oh gosh. So we get all kinds of things. And when it rains one, it pours. So we get one person that has a guinea pig that needs to come in. We all of a sudden have 10 guinea pigs. So we get what we call pocket pets are, rabbits, guinea pigs, hamsters, mice, rats, which are really social and a lot of fun,
Yeah, yeah.
great pets. Reptiles, sometimes we get the bearded dragons and snakes. We had an iguana once, which was kind of terrifying, but also really cool. They're very, very large,
Yeah.
larger than I thought, but we get a lot of birds, so cockatiels and parakeets. We got turtles once. Sometimes the fun stuff comes in. We don't do wildlife here at the shelter, but um,
Right.
they are cute when they come in and we get to see them and then they leave.
Yeah.
So we're not allowed to keep them here, but yeah, we get all kinds of things. Mostly cats and dogs, which is fine, but it's fun to get the other stuff.
Yeah, it is. It is. Well, Casey, this has been wonderful, and I really, really appreciate your time spent. And thank you for joining Rescue Tale.